All right, this is going to be I'm gonna call this a special season 2 mid-season recap of P Valley. We're going to dig into what's going on with Mercedes and what's going on with Keyshawn. We'll do probably a full, recap of the season after the season's over. What? How are you feeling about P Valley this season?
Man, see, I swear, I really, really like this season. It's a lot of different elements that they brought so
Right.
far, and we're only on what, episode 6 we just watched? Was it? Yeah. So they are bringing so many different elements. You know what I mean? Outside of the music, outside of the stripping,
Right.
we got spirituality going on. We got hoodoo. We got all kinds of different elements. We got flashbacks of upbringings,
Right.
politics, just so much going on. I really, really love this season, and I like the direction that it's going in. What about you? What you feeling about it?
I think this season is a little darker than last season. Like, well, it's way darker than last season,
Mhm.
but in a good way. I think it's way darker than last season in a good way. And it's like, even though there are a lot, it seems like there are a lot outside of the strip club this season.
Yes.
So last season it was like mainly a lot of going on in the strip club. This season is like behind, their regular lives. What's going on? Like,
Yes.
what's
I
going on?
do notice that.
All
Yeah.
right. So my first, before we get into Mercedes and Keyshawn, my first question to you is: this is what I see on Facebook on a daily, and this is the main thing about P Valley. So I want to know how you feel because I see a lot of women saying any men that watch P Valley, they're a little suspect, or like how is men watching this show? So how do you feel about men watching P Valley?
Yeah, this seemed to be a big debate,
Right.
really, because I mean, you think about it, acting is acting. Like, just because a person is acting gay doesn't necessarily mean that they are. I mean, we have actors who've portrayed violent criminals,
Right.
rapists,
Right.
and all of that. We don't say, "Oh, I'm not watching it because then I'm supporting him being a rapist or a child molester or just something like that." Um, I do not feel like if a male watches this, he's a little suspect because it's entertainment.
Right.
Two, it's acting, and three, you got to give it to these straight men who are playing these gay roles. Except I think Uncle Clifford is gay
Yeah.
in
Okay.
real life, but Little Murder and T got
Lil Murder is married.
he's married. He is nowhere near gay.
Right.
But he is an artist, he's an actor, and he is good at his craft. And so I feel like if any male who watches this, he shouldn't be
Right.
considered a little suspect for watching it. I think that's just a little outrageous.
My whole thing is you got the fast forward button for those 15
Yeah.
to 20-second gay scenes. That's all it is. It's like, and it's not even every episode. It's probably every other episode or every 2-3 episodes. It might be like a 15 to 20-second gay scene. But my whole thing is I don't understand it because I couldn't watch Eyes or Game of Thrones because it was so much going on, in those shows. But everybody was cool with that. But now
Right.
when it comes to P Valley, it's like this whole big uproar. Like, no, men
Hmm.
shouldn't be watching that. It's too much gay stuff going on. But it's like, what show is there not gay stuff going on at this point?
Exactly. A reference to some sort of gay. I was watching the Upshaws, totally something different. And they have that underlying too with one of his sons. So it's just like you're absolutely right. And again, most men don't actually watch the actual scenes
Right.
of it happening. Like you said, they fast forward, they do something else or whatever, and just don't pay attention to that part. So I know that a lot of the women are definitely balking about men who watch P Valley, but I don't see nothing wrong with
Yeah, I don't think it's an issue of it unless you're getting excited. During
it. Exactly.
you
Wait
get
a minute.
excited.
Hold up. What
During
you doing? That's a little smirk,
Right,
every time
right,
Uncle Clifford come across that scene sashaying and shit.
right. Now, if you're getting a
Yeah,
little excited, then
exactly,
that's a different issue that y'all might have to talk about.
exactly,
Other than that, you can skip right through. You know
exactly.
what's going on these little tiny parts. All
Yes.
right, so we're gonna dig deep into what's going on with Mercedes and Keyshawn. But which one do you want to start with?
Let's start with the OG. Let's start with Mercedes.
Mercedes,
Yeah, that's
Mercedes,
my girl.
the OG of the crew,
Yeah.
the official captain of the pink.
Yes.
So
Yes.
with Mercedes, I'll give a little backstory on Mercedes. So Mercedes in season one, she was the main girl at the strip club. She was hustling and bustling, saving up all her cash, and I guess she had maybe 50,000 or whatever that she was giving it to her mom, to put it in the bank to save for her, so she can open up a gym school, and so she can leave the pink and try to get her daughter back. Try to get go into a different path. So her mom ended up taking all the money and opening up a church and saying "fuck you," and she opened up her own church, and
Yeah.
Mercedes was ass out. So now on season two, Mercedes is basically starting all over from scratch, trying to get her money back up, and she ran into this thing where women may call a sponsor.
Mm.
So she tapped into one of her old clients from the strip club, who they call Coach. And she asked Coach, what's up? You asked me before about being a sponsor. Is that, still an option? Coach said, that's still an option. Let's work it out. They even drew up legal documents. Mercedes asked that she get the wife permission. And I think that it basically boiled down to he was gonna pay Mercedes 60,000 to have, her come. He put her up in a condo and wherever, and he was gonna, be able to do his thing with Mercedes as he felt like it. Whenever he had time or whatever, she would come over, they would fuck, they would have sex, whatever. And, throughout however long this time was, he was to give her $60,000. So that's where we are with Mercedes. Even the wife started partaking.
Mm.
The wife slipped up. First, the wife was looking at her sideways. Then the wife watched, her strip tease, and she got enticed. So the wife participated in a threesome. So now they get into this threesome, and now the wife is like engaged, and she wants Mercedes sometimes by herself.
Mm.
So she calls Mercedes over. Mercedes is looking for the guy. He's not there, and she's like, "No, I called you. I wanted to play with you a little bit." So her and Mercedes engage in a little sexual activities. Then they go back to their regular threesomes, but a fatal flaw happens when they get back into their regular threesome with the coach. A fatal flaw happens where they allow the coach to witness them entertaining and enjoying each other more than they're entertaining the coach. So now, Ish, I'll let you. We can start wherever you want to start. There's a lot of shit here.
All right. First, let's just stick right with the coach.
What's up?
Sir, if you weren't giving those senior citizen moves, maybe the girls might not have been so indulged in one another because, honey, he was not doing near not a nothing
Right,
worth
right,
paying attention to. But I found it really fucking hilarious that the wife was like, you wouldn't even know how
right,
much I like pussy.
right,
Like you wouldn't even know because you don't pay attention enough. Like because he got upset or something saying, "Oh, you act like you did this before" or something, and she was like, "Yeah, I love pussy maybe more than you."
right.
Like you wouldn't even know or pay attention. So it was really funny to me because she said she had never did it before, but maybe she was saying she never partaked in a threesome with her husband before when she said
Or
it to Mercedes.
Or I think that maybe she hasn't, partaken into a female physically, but she's always been attracted,
Attracted, right?
lusted after females at
Yeah,
times.
yeah.
But yeah, the coach was pissed off.
He's hot.
He threw
Reneged, took the money back.
right. He
Told
kicked
Mercedes, "You ass out."
he
Go
kicked
ahead.
Mercedes out.
Mm-hmm.
And the best part of that was the wife side eyeing Mercedes like,
I don't know what you want me to do, sis. Thanks for the ass. It
right,
was great. It was
right,
great. But I can't help you. Mercedes just sitting there. I know she was feeling very defeated because she had a purpose for doing that,
right,
putting herself in that predicament, you know what I mean? Taking him up on that proposition, even, sometime later, you know what I mean? And she had a purpose for that. So for it to end such as this, oh, I know she was a little salty, but I'm hoping that maybe, something will happen and the wife will, like, something will change around. I'm hoping because she just keep getting knocked down.
right,
Mom done stole her dough,
right,
you know, at the church,
right.
wilding out.
All right,
Mom is
hold,
off
hold
the
on,
hook.
hold on, Ish. We got to start right there because this is going to be a process. We got to start.
Yeah.
All right, so at the end of season 1, the mom goes and takes all the money and buys her church in the same building that Mercedes was going to open up the gym school for first day. The same building that Mercedes was going to have the gym school. The mom put the money down to open up her own church. So Mercedes ends up whipping her mom's ass, and they both go to jail. And it was a whole big thing at the end of season 1. So if you're Mercedes, Ish, and your mom does this to you, how do you react?
I feel like I'm going to act exactly the same way that Mercedes did, just because I am 0 to 100 real quick. It's unfortunate, but that's how I am. So I feel like at that point in time, you were no longer my mom.
Right.
Like, I feel like my mom would never do no shit like that to me. So at this point in time, you're just a regular person. And I'm not going to see who you are. I'm going to start whipping your ass just like Mercedes did.
Right.
And then we'll deal with everything else after that.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I would have probably reacted the same way. Yeah.
So your mom steals the money, goes off and buys a church. Now you got to go back to the strip club after you did your famous last dance, trying to get your ass up out of there. You got to go back to this church where now they're in the pandemic, so they're doing like a car wash strip tease kind of thing, and you got to basically start from bottom to try to get your money back up, to in order to open up this gym school. So, Ish, do you devise a new plan at this point, or it's like fuck it, I gotta go shake this ass again?
Yeah, I feel like, her back was against the wall in a sense. So I feel like she didn't have any choice but to go back to the pink. You know what I mean? But in the interim, she is, trying to seek another outlet, which was the coach, essentially, which backfired. But I think she had the right frame of mind. You know what I mean? All right, well, I did my last dance. This is a tough pill to swallow to go back in the pink. You know what I mean? Everybody gonna be looking at me talking shit, side eyeing me, throwing little smart remarks. You know what I mean? But I'm still going to be trying to hustle up these big bucks, you know what I mean? This big bank so that I can get back to the focus, and which is the gym, the dance school. And, I think that's what she had in mind, but it just seemed like she just keep getting knocked back no matter which way she turned. It's crazy.
So the only thing good or partially good was that she had taken Autumn in, let Autumn stay with her. So Autumn, who had just recently, purchased the pink in that auction, that's a whole different story. We'll get into that later.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So since Mercedes let Autumn stay with her, Autumn allows Mercedes to get like 3 to 10%. So it's one of those of the door at the pink. So she's getting that money coming in.
Yes.
All right. So moving on, let's go to sponsorship violence. Where do you stand on a sponsor?
All right. So I feel like depending on what your circumstances are, you know what I mean? If you're, if you're single, like I just feel like it just depends on your whole situation. Sponsors can sometimes be cool if you're a single person, a single woman, and you're trying to, achieve certain goals or whatever the case may be, and you feel like you want to indulge in that for the purpose of your gain. I personally don't think it's nothing wrong with it. I mean, if you're in a relationship or something like that, obviously it's different. You're not that's something totally different. You know what I mean? But
Right.
I don't feel like it's nothing wrong with it, honestly. Like, do what you need to do to get where you need to get to.
Yeah, I'm not mad at the whole sponsorship thing. I'm not mad at it. Some people might frown on it,
Mm-hmm.
whatever. But as I always say, a lot of y'all is out here fucking a lot of different motherfuckers for free. So,
That's exactly what I was just getting ready to say. Well,
so
you know what I mean?
at least this was a business ordeal that she arranged with paperwork and everything. So hopefully Mercedes will be able to get her money soon as coach calms down after that.
Right, exactly. And then she did try to keep some sort of ethical basis to it. She said she wanted the wife's approval. She sat down and talked to the wife and said, listen, I got to have, some sort of respect here, you know what I mean? And some
what do
sort
you
of moral code.
So what do you think about that on both sides of it, Isha? If you're Mercedes, do you ask the wife? And if you're the wife, do you want to know, or do you like do both sides of it? If you're Mercedes and if you're the wife.
Right. So I think that I think that was a dope move on her part. I just think that it shows, like she said, I got some integrity. A bitch got to have some integrity.
Right.
Integrity. I feel like that was a dope move on her part. If I was the wife, that is difficult to say if I would want to know or not. But I feel like that was an honorable thing to accept from someone. You know what I mean? I don't know if I would like it. Like, I'm not quite sure how I would feel about it, but I would have to respect it
Right.
because it's being open and honest.
Right.
And then it's up to me to decide my next move and how I feel about it. You know what I mean? So I feel like, even as a wife, even if I might not have liked it, I would have at least respected it.
All right. So now they indulge into this threesome. Do you think that that was a good move, or do you think that Mercedes should have backed up off of that?
Yeah, I knew that was going to happen. I just knew it. I don't know why, but I knew that shit was going to go down exactly how it went down. I feel
Hold
like,
on, hold on, hold on, hold on, Ish. Before you get into your thoughts on it, I just want to say that I've never personally partaken in a threesome. It's been on the table for me a couple times, but things might have happened where it just didn't happen. So my whole thoughts about threesomes are I would never want to do a threesome with somebody that I was in a relationship with or even married to because it's too tricky. It's too slippery. You might get mad because you might see me get a little excited when I'm with her. You might get worried about that. Maybe I'm trying to smash when you're not around. I might have to deal with you liking her. Like it's too many variables that
yeah,
it would just have to be like two people that I'm just like friends with or something. Like it couldn't be nobody that I was in a relationship with.
right.
I don't
Okay.
think. I don't think so. I don't
Yeah,
think that's a good idea. All right, so go ahead.
yeah. So, Mercedes, I feel like she should have stayed away from it because it was already such like a business deal, a business situation. Then it should have just stayed just that. The wife should have just, did her thing, came in, signed the contracts, make sure shit was cool, and then roll. And then me and coach do whatever we do when we do it. You know what I mean? I felt like it got slippery
All right.
once the wife got involved. And I do agree with you there as far as I feel like if that's something that you guys venture out and do, first of all, let me state that some women shouldn't, if they are going to partake in threesome, say with their significant other or something like that, they shouldn't necessarily worry about if he's going to do it without them or not. Like even outside of a threesome, if a man is going to step out on you, he's going to step out on you.
Right.
You know what I mean? Some things we focus on and we shouldn't, you know what I mean? Because then it kind of takes away from certain things. But I feel like if you do like indulge in threesomes with your significant other, then you guys should have boundaries. And once the boundaries may cross, or it gets into that slippery slope, you know, that you were talking about, then, you know, you guys decide, oh, we shutting this shit down, or, you know, we're not going to do it no more, or that's it. This relationship is done because we done fucked it up by bringing another party in. And I don't feel like you should do it with somebody you know.
Right.
I feel like if you are in a relationship, it should be somebody outside that you guys do not know, that you have no connection to whatsoever. One and done.
Right. Okay. I agree with that. All right. So now the wife acts like the coach and texts Mercedes, has Mercedes come over. So Mercedes thinking she's going to go see the coach, but she ends up getting there and it's just the wife. So now the wife is like playing along with it, like teach me some, you know, striptease moves. Well, this is a hall of setup that Mercedes is not even saying.
Set up. Set
So
up.
Mercedes is teaching her how to work the pole a little bit, and then they end up having sex. So now, what are your thoughts on that particular part of it? Do you think that Mercedes should have been like, "Yo, where's Coach? I'm out of here," or what?
I think Mercedes was intrigued a little bit herself. That's why she allowed her guard to come down. You know what I mean? Because she was taking pictures of her. You know, it got sexy, it got sensual, and I think the shit was just flowing. So Mercedes was just like, this might be something fun for me to do. But
But
I feel like I'm
I
sorry.
also, I also think that Mercedes might have had it in the back of her mind, like I don't want to make her upset because then she's going to tell the coach, and then my
Yep.
whole shit might be off. But go ahead, finish.
Yep. I agree. That's what I was gonna say. In the beginning, when Mercedes put her fucking jacket back on
Right,
and covered up,
right,
and she should have just left it like that. She just said, "Oh, okay. Well, I'll come back in a little bit when coach is actually here."
right.
Like, I feel like she should have, you know, follow her gut,
Mm,
her first instinct, which was to wrap that shit up and wait for the coach.
right.
I think she should have did that. But you know, the flesh is weak.
The flesh is weak.
The flesh is weak. She let her talk in and dropping them draws.
The flesh is weak. All right, so now they get back to their regular threesomes, which I think Mercedes should have, after the first time, should have like, all right, coach, we just going to get back to our regular shit. But now they're, you know, they're in it. Now once you in it, you in it.
Mm-hmm.
Once you in it, you in it.
Mm-hmm.
So now they end up having this threesome where coach, you know, sees their facial expressions and how they're engaging with each other, and he puts two and two together that, oh, y'all like fucking each other. I don't even have to be here. And I was paying for all of this. This is supposed to be my shit. This is supposed to be my treat. You
Yes,
just stole
man.
my shit. Like
Mm-hmm. Ronnie DeVoe. He Ronnie DeVoe us.
right, you done took my
He
whole
got
shit.
mad. Mm-hmm.
So
Got mad.
what do you think Mercedes' action should have been in that moment? Do you think Mercedes should have knew better to not even, you know, show coach that side, or you know, like you said, once you in it, you like you lose control sometimes.
Yeah, that's
Girls
what
pleasing
happened.
her, the girl's pleasing her, and she's caught up in it. She's not even thinking about damn coach. She's not even thinking.
Yeah, she slipped up on that one. You know what I mean? She slipped up. She let the moment
Right,
overpower her mind. You know what I mean? Because your mind will clearly tell you he's the money.
right,
He's who you should be paying attention to.
right,
Like, it's not even about me getting pleased at this point in
right,
time. You see what I'm saying? Because I am here to necessarily please him. So she completely let her guard all the way down.
right,
And I think her name is Farah. Farah definitely did some shit
right,
on their private session
right,
that had her, you know, in the mix where she just lost it.
right.
And you know, she let her guard down in regards to that. And she forgot the motive. Like, she forgot what the fuck it was all about. You know
Facts,
what I mean?
facts. So, as coach gets upset, do you think the wife was wrong for not having Mercedes back?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Because I feel like, sis, you was a part of enticing her to begin with.
Right.
Like you was a part of that, and getting her to let her guard down and to be with you and to open that side of her up. So I feel like you should have rolled with Mercedes just a tad bit more, especially being as though your husband is doing what he's doing. Like, you know what I mean? I just feel like you should have just been like, yo, calm down, coach. Like, Mercedes didn't do anything. It was, we just got into the moment. Like, she should have just rolled with her a little bit and gave some excuse. She just was pretty much like, all right, Mercedes. And maybe, just maybe, that was Farrah's plan. That was the wife's plan to
Right.
begin
Right.
with.
Right.
Maybe that was just her fucking plan.
Right. That's why I said you don't do it with the people that's involved because you never know their
Yep.
angles.
Yep.
And even if that wasn't her plan from the beginning, that could have changed into her plan, or, or she could also be oblivious to that happening. But you
Right.
still allowed yourself to get put in that position. So
Yeah.
this is what I wanted to ask you, Ish. Do you know that Mercedes' actual character, her real name is Brandy Evans, and she in real life she was a school teacher.
I did know that. I did. I think I saw like an interview or something that she did
Right.
that stated that. Yeah. She's pretty dope. I like her.
Right. So she's basically a school teacher who just got into acting, and she's doing her thing, real good on this show. The thing
Hmm.
I like about Mercedes is not the body is all there. It's there. But the thing
Hmm.
I like about her character is that they show her like with the braids. They show her like
Yeah.
regular.
Yes. Raw.
Right.
Raw. I love it. I
Right.
love it. And she discusses that she doesn't have the perfect ideal body. But for a stripper, like she do.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean?
Right.
Um, but it gives a real side to her. They show a real side to her character where she's just like not all dialed up, not all dressed up.
Right.
You know what I mean? At times, and she's just who she is, and she's down to earth and just real. So I think that's a nice touch.
So also it was revealed that Mercedes has a daughter who she's trying to get custody of at some point. She's trying to be more involved in her life. Her daughter was left with her baby father at the time, who was older than her, who had remarried, and they let them have the child because Mercedes was like 15 or 16 at this time. So
Mhm.
Mercedes is having these issues with the daughter living with her stepmom after the father passed away. So the daughter is now living with the stepmom, who's now a drunk, and
Wow.
she's just letting the daughter run wild. And at the end of episode 6, the daughter comes to Mercedes crying because now the daughter has followed in the same footsteps as Mercedes. Now she is pregnant. So, what are your thoughts on the whole daughter part?
Yeah, I feel like Shell, the mother, that's caring for Terica. I feel like she's losing it.
Right.
She's losing her footing. She's having her emotional issues or whatever, but she does not want to let go of Terica and letting her go back to
Um,
Mercedes, her mom, where even though Mercedes is doing what she does for a living, I think she would still be more stable than what Shell is right now. Like, she's drinking.
right.
Terica is driving by herself. She's having to go to her grandmother at the church to get boxes of food to eat. Like, it's just so many different things going on. And the fact that, oopsie, now she's pregnant, which means she out there fucking
Right.
and not being monitored. And I feel like even with Mercedes doing what she does, like, she would be a better parent
Mm,
for her daughter at this point in time.
right. So, do you think that these are the general curses that we face as you know where we come from? That our children fall fatal to some of the same mistakes that we have.
Yeah, I do believe that it's not all the time that happens, because there are people in a lot of situations where the generational curses don't apply.
Right.
But I feel like a lot of the times, being so, and with her daughter being so curious too about Mercedes and her lifestyle and her father, and was she young? Did he love her? She had so many questions and so many voids to fill that she just ran and did the same thing. And that's typically how it happens. You know what I mean? So I feel like this was an example of that.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think it's like episode 4 or so where Mercedes is talking to Terica in the kitchen, and she's asking her about the conversation that she had with her stepmom about, am I a mistake? I believe that was the question. And I think Mercedes said, no, you're not a mistake. It was a mistake me having a baby, but you per se are not a mistake. So what are your thoughts on that conversation that they were having?
Yeah, that is a really deep conversation, because I mean, a lot of the times, most children who are coming up, whether they're with their mother or parents or not, or growing up in a different household, I think they still have that same question. You know what I mean? Especially if they were um, product of young parents or a young mother. You know what I mean?
So,
Like,
so, so let's just say on where we come from, we don't particularly be like sitting around with our significant other and be like, yo, I think it's time that we have a baby. Like it's not a planned
right,
thing when
right,
when we as young black adults at the time have kids. So
right.
at some points, you know, a lot of the kids might think of themselves as a mistake, or
Right.
that
Yep,
that comes into play.
yep.
So
So
what are your thoughts on that whole situation?
yeah, like, they're going to question, they're going to wonder, especially hearing it and seeing it. Oh, I was a young mother, or oh, you had to be raised by auntie so and so, or whoever, or your grandmother, because I was just too young. I think Mercedes was accurate in her telling Terica, hey, listen, I made a mistake, yes, but you were not a mistake, because that's typically how it is. You know what
Right,
I mean? The child is not necessarily a mistake or a regret.
right.
It's just, some circumstances don't afford you to be able to provide the best for them. You need the village, you know what I mean, to help raise them at that time. So I think Mercedes did a really good job at that, at
So, I-
explaining
so,
that.
so I want to ask you, if you were Mercedes at 16 and your mom said, if you keep this baby, you got to get out, and you want to keep the baby, what are your next actions?
I'm getting out.
You getting out? Okay.
I'm getting out. I'm gonna find other means. Maybe it's an option to stay with another family member. Hopefully, maybe the father is something where maybe I can stay with him or his family for some point in time. I'm going to be figuring something out. I feel like sometimes, even at a young age, those ultimatums are a little difficult, and there's a lot of kids in those predicaments that don't have no other options and no other choices, but to get rid of it. But to get rid of it, or have to stay home and abide by those rules. But
Right.
I feel like if you're given the option to be able to ride out with your decisions,
Right.
no matter how old you are, then you should be able to do that.
Okay. Last question before we move on to Keyshawn and her drama. That's a whole lot.
Right.
Last question about Mercedes. So now, at this point, if you're a Mercedes, what's your next move?
Ooh, because Mercedes just like, I don't know if what episode it was. It was either episode 5 or 6, or it might have been, I don't even know, it might have been before, when Roulette and Whisper, or mainly Roulette, because
Right.
Roulette be coming at Mercedes' neck.
Basically calling her the old y'all in the club. Like it's your time is up, basically.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that little bag that Mercedes had compared to Roulette and Whisper's bag, like, I don't know what I would do, because I felt like of digging herself with coach, and this proposition, she had some hope of digging herself out of this little rut that she seemed to be in. She was feeling kind of old, not necessarily jealous of the younger girls, but just feeling like, maybe her time has passed in a pink. per se. You know what I mean?
We forgot to talk all about her fall off the pole.
Yeah, her
When
shoulder,
she was
yeah,
trying
the
to compete with the
fall.
young girls. She was trying to compete with the young girls, and she got a little, her mind got a little bit out of it, and she fell off the pole.
And she fell off the pole.
Right.
And that kind of deflated her in a sense. I feel like, you know what I mean? So I don't know what her direction could possibly be right now. I don't know. If I was her, I guess I would be trying to, I don't know, I'd be pimping.
You'll be pimping.
Some of these hoes gotta give it up. Like, I'm starting a brothel or some shit with these little hoes running around. Oh, you want to suck dick, miss?
Right.
Yeah, okay, I got you. I'm gonna line these niggas up for you, and I need my cut. Like, I don't know. I'm just saying, but honestly, I really don't know what her next move should be or what it would be, because
I think Mercedes has to fix that situation with Coach. That's her best move. I think that's her best, play at this point, to fix her situation with Coach, if possible, because he was
if possible.
he was definitely in his field. So sometimes
Ooh,
you might not be able to come back from that.
right.
he's
See,
going to always see certain people get those mind things. Like
right.
when I see you, I always see how your face was when she was doing her thing to you, and I can't get. I don't have that. Like I don't have that. I don't
Right.
have that in me to where as though that's my mind pattern. Like I'm not. I
Mhm.
don't even want to think about no shit like that.
Right. But
So
some people do.
right.
You're right.
So
You're
some
right.
people have that. So I don't know if Coach is going to be able to get past that. But if she was asking my opinion, I would say that I think that's her best play. So, to try to get that money from Coach so she can
Yeah.
air horn and open her gym and try to get her daughter back. So what is your advice for her to tell her daughter now?
That's heavy. Oh. I really don't know. I would be floored. I really wouldn't know what to say. But I think that I would take the approach of being, I would take the supportive approach. You know what I mean? Especially being as though, she herself went through this exact same thing, and she knows how it felt when her mother gave her certain ultimatums. So I think she should definitely, take the supportive approach when, speaking with Terica, and talk through how she feels about being pregnant, and get her thoughts on what she wants to do, and then maybe they can decide together on what's what. You know what I mean?
So what if Terica says, "Mom, I don't know what to do." What
You always do this shit.
I am a shit starter.
I know you always do this shit. Well, I'm gonna say, well, you know what? Oh, she don't know what to do. So then we're going to have talks about what her future goals are, what she wants to do in her life. Does she think that a baby will fit into this, etc.? If she says, and if we come to a happy medium and she wants to keep the baby, then I'm saying we're going to take care of this baby together. You come with me, or we're going to do whatever. I think I would help her. I would talk her through exactly her feelings to get her to a point where she kind of knows what she wants to do, even when she doesn't know.
Okay.
Because ultimately, it's going to boil down to how Terica feels and what Terica wants. Even if she's saying at that point in time, I don't know.
Right.
You know what I mean? So.
All right. So we're ready to move on to the next big drama.
Mm.
Big drama that's going on. It's Keyshawn, whose real name is Shannon Thornton. Do you know the backstory, or do you want me to give the backstory, or do you know?
You can give the backstory. You're doing such a good job. I do know the backstory, but go ahead. Take the lead, sir.
All right. So Keyshawn is one of the, I guess you would say she's like right under Mercedes. She would be like right under Mercedes at the Pink. She was one of the top dancers, but she has this domestic abusive white husband or boyfriend. I don't know if that's her husband or a boyfriend, but she's with this white guy. So her story is she grew up as the dark skinned girl amongst light skinned sisters and amongst, white people. And the dark skinned black guys treated her like trash because she was dark skinned. And the white guy who she's with now is actually the only person who stood up for her and told her that she was beautiful. He fed into her. And while he was at home getting abused himself, like he was at home, his dad was whipping his ass. So she helped him, as he was going through that, being abused. And actually, Ish, I would say that she raped him in the back of that car. The first time, if that was the first time they had sex, I would say that she raped him in the back of that car. So she's not completely clean here. I would say that she took, advantage of him and she raped him in the back of that car. And they were together as teens in high school. Then they started having babies, and she became a stripper, and she's always taking care of them, like financially. He's been having trouble finding work, but she's always, and he hates that she's a stripper though, and he hates that she goes on tour with Little Murder as a dancer or whatever. He hates that she just goes outside.
Right.
He hates that he
Period.
tries to take away any little freedoms that she has. He liked when she was at home doing it on OnlyFans because she was in the house and people weren't been able to touch her and see her. I think he's like afraid of abandonment or losing her at this point. So now he's abusive. They got into a big fight at the end of season 1 where Diamond, who was the security guard who was in love with Keyshawn and wants to help her out of the situation, he got into a fight with her white boyfriend, and then Keyshawn ended up pulling a gun on Diamond and stopping that whole situation. So the guy who was actually trying to help her get out of it, she pulled a gun on him just because this is the person who's always been in her corner. So what I want to say to this is a example of trauma bonding. So they're bonding over the trauma of she was always the dark skinned girl who people made fun of, and he was there to help her, and she was there to help him when he was being abused by his father. But now he's abusive to her. But I also want to say that when he is abusive to her, she got a slick ass mouth.
She do.
she,
She
she
do.
she got a slick ass mouth that puts her in positions where it's not right for him to put his hands on her, but some of the shit that she say, be like, no, I wouldn't have said that. He's violent.
Right.
I wouldn't have chose those words to say to a
Mhm.
violent individual.
Right.
He's not right. You gotta, when somebody's not right, I don't think you should choose the words that's going to send them over the edge. So,
Right. Or you
and
gotta have some hands to fucking follow up.
right,
Like we dogging this out tonight, sir.
right. So she ends up going on tour with Little Murder, who's a rapper on the show, and she ends up going on tour. And when she comes home, she finds out that the white guy, is abusing one of the kids. So the kid is only 3 years old, and he's like, he won't shut the fuck up, and this is that. So he ends up pulling the kid's arm out of socket. So she takes the kid to the hospital to see what's going on. He ends up pulling the kid's arm. So she tells him, "You can beat on me, but these are kids. Don't beat on the kids." That was very,
Mhm.
deep. Like, I'll take these ass whippings, just don't beat on the kids, which was
Don't touch
crazy.
them.
So
Wow.
they ended up getting into a big fight, and he had an iron that this is what I'm talking about.
This
She
is
doesn't pick her spot. She saw him ironing those clothes. She
I
doesn't pick
know.
her spots well. She
That's not funny.
decided to go and start that argument right while the iron was hot.
Right. I
So
felt like a back of Penny situation of Good Times. Like he was getting
right,
ready to really burn her.
right.
And
So they end up getting into a fight. He punches her in the mouth, and they're fighting, and he has her pinned up against the wall, and he's about to burn her face with this iron, and she says to him, "You can burn me anywhere else, just don't burn my face because I gotta work with this face. It's a part of the show." So where do you want to begin with this whole drama with Keyshawn and their trauma bonding?
oh man, this is so difficult. Mind you, I really like her. I
Right.
like her character.
Mm.
I liked when she was at the Pink. She was just a cute little sassy stripper. You could definitely tell that she wasn't um too intertwined in the life per se. Like she was in it,
Right.
but it hadn't become her fully. You know what I mean? Um, but I just feel like her and Derek are so toxic.
Right.
You know what I mean? And she saw signs of that when they did the whole episode of, you know, them as in high school.
Right.
She saw the signs. He was battered. He was abused by his father, and abuse people.
Right.
So those were her signs. But I think you're right in that, she was so damaged herself by the things that she had endured, the color of her skin, her stepsisters, you know what I mean? Her stepmother, who was verbally abusive at points to her when her father wasn't around. She just needed to be cared for, needed to be loved. And even though, he seemed to be valiant,
Mm.
he seemed to save her, you
Right.
know what I mean, in high school.
Right.
So when he started hitting her, it was like, that tug of war, like, but he really loves me.
Right.
Like, he loves me. So she's battling with herself about this. And you saw that where she had the gun.
Right.
Like, she's contemplating maybe taking him out,
Right.
but she ain't fully there yet.
Right.
You know what I mean? So this is hard to watch. It's
Right.
hard to watch her get beat. It's hard to
But
watch him
but,
abuse the
but
kids.
it's real because a lot of people go through this and are still going through this. And I want to start where they're kids. All right. So where they're kids and she's seeing that he's being abusive. Well, he's being abused. So the first sign where she's pregnant and she's telling them, I work at like Walgreens or Walmart or whatever, and I'm taking care of us. And I think I don't know if he hit her at that point, but he's just calling her all kinds of bitches.
Mhm.
And she left crying and she tried to go back home. And then the stepmom said, well, you chose, this is what you chose. You got to eat this. So let's start right there, Ish. What's up with the stepmom? The dad's not even stepping in.
Right.
What does she do at that point where she tries to leave and then she
But
had nowhere to go?
she has nowhere to go. She feels like, her family, the family that she does have,
Mm.
is not going to take her back. She don't have no other options. So she goes back
Mm.
and she endures more and more, have another kid, more and more, still has nowhere to go. But this is what I feel like now. I feel like that might have been her situation back then. You know what I mean? Very young, pregnant, nowhere to go, nobody to turn to. But I feel like now as an adult, there are a little more options afforded to her. She's the breadwinner here. She's got means and motive to be able to move around and shake and move a little bit more than he does.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I feel like he's got a hold on her some kind of way because she can leave.
It's the trauma. It's the trauma bonding. So, do you think I want to talk about the stepmom and the father not stepping in that position? Do you think they're right or wrong for that? She chose to leave the house. She chose to go with this white man who the stepmom told her that these things are going to happen. She tried to warn her and tell her that he's putting you on this pedestal now, but these things are going to happen. So, do you think that she was wrong? It was pouring down rain, and that scene had to like hurt it.
Yo, that was crazy. Like, they was wrong. That was wrong because I get it. Yes, she made a decision. She made a bad decision, possibly. She didn't take heed to, what you was trying to school her to, being as though it's obvious that you was sitting there drinking because you were getting cheated on by
Right.
your husband, her father. You know what I mean? And I feel like at that point in time, she was fucking begging for help. She's standing in the pouring rain in a nightgown in
But
the
I, but I,
middle
but
of
I,
the night.
but I'm glad that you said that part right there. That part about the stepmom was getting cheated on. So some people will choose the cheating over the physically getting my ass whipped. So
True.
where does that line lay in women where they choose that path that I would rather be getting my ass whipped? At least he's not cheating on me. Why do you think that some women choose that path?
Because it's the lesser of the two evils in some people's mind. That's what I think. But when you think about it, technically, it's all fucking crazy. It's
Right.
all craziness because it's all equivalent. One is physical abuse, one is mental abuse, mental and emotional abuse. So I wouldn't trade one for the other. Like, but women do. Where does that break down? It's that mentality that, hey, it could be worse. Like, I could be getting my ass beat, but okay, he gonna cheat a little bit. He gonna do what he do because that's what men do. You know what I mean? But he's coming home to me, or I'm just gonna sit here and sulk about it or whatever, and then I'm not gonna leave or do anything about it. You know what I mean? So I think for them, they kind of train their mind to say, hey, it's not as bad as it could be.
Right. So also after that rain scene, and she went back home, and he apologized, and there was a room full of roses, and he said he was sorry. Do you think that this is a problem of people, accepting that this won't happen again?
Yep. Yep. I think I think we might have even touched about this in one of the shows before where, we see these red flags. It's things that are done, you know what I mean? And we just kind of smooth it over, hoping that that will be the last time, hoping that, it was just an instance where, he had a bad temper and speaking from her point of view, he had a bad temper, it was just something, I aggravated him too much or something, and it will never happen again. And this was the last time. He said it won't happen again. These roses, you know what I mean, are melting me, and they're making me feel like this is it, and he will change.
Right.
And you train your mind to think that
Right.
until it happens again, because
Right.
it's going to happen again.
Right.
It's
Right.
going to happen again.
Right.
You
All
know.
right. So where are we? So after the parents don't let her come back home, she's dealing with this. All right, so they get into this thing at the Pink. He's protective of her at the Pink. He doesn't, like people. She's a stripper, but he doesn't like people like looking and gawking all over her. But she's the only one making money. And then he gets into this fight with Diamond, who is the security guard. So do you think that Keyshawn was wrong when she pulled that gun on Diamond? What do you think at this point?
I think she was torn at that point in time. You know what I mean? Because she's thinking, okay, here is Derek, who I feel like loves me and would do anything in the world for me. We've been through everything together, and Diamond, yes, although I know he cares about my well-being because he's shown that to me, it's just not quite the same as my life with Derek. So therefore, I'm going to protect Derek first. You know what I mean? And I'm going to pull out that gun. I think she was absolutely and positively wrong
Right.
for that. I don't feel like she did that, especially somebody trying to help you,
Right.
sis.
So another red flag was after he said to Diamond, I don't even know why she's bothered with you niggas or whatever.
Gutter niggas.
All right, gutter niggas. And when she was younger and when she was pregnant, he actually called her a nigga too. So even though you see this guy as he's coming to save me, he's the one. He doesn't care about how dark skinned I am. He calls me beautiful. He's also racist. So where's the line here?
Where is the line?
Where is the line?
She's like brainwashed or something, but you're saying the trauma bonds, and that is a real thing. And she's holding on to what she thinks is glue. Like she's holding on to him as if there is no better options for her. And I think even she said that she didn't feel worthy, or maybe Uncle Clifford was saying she didn't feel worthy
Right.
of even how he was treating her.
Right.
No matter how bad he was treating her, like she didn't feel worthy of his love. And that's a battered place to be mentally, not even just physically. You know what I mean?
So also another red flag was she had to fake throw out Pampers just to
I was so irked by that. I was like, what the fuck are you doing, sis?
yeah, when I seen her doing it, I was like, why is she doing that?
What is she doing?
So she had to fake throw out Pampers that haven't been used yet, just in order to be able to get out and go outside.
Isn't that
So,
crazy?
so these are, another control aspects and red flags as to this abuse that she's engaging in. Like
Yeah.
this is what you want your life to be. Like you gotta go through all this to even get outside. And that other part where she tried to take the car when he left somewhere. He had disconnected some shit or took some shit, so she couldn't even go nowhere. So she just was defeated and walked back in the house.
Listen, I would have before I left, or maybe, he might have been, tracking the calls or something too. But I would have called Wody.
Right.
I would have called Lil Murda.
Right.
I would have called Diamond, maybe the Pank, somewhere, somebody. Gidget, you was just with Gidget, sis.
Right.
Call somebody. I'm going to walk 2 miles down the road. I ain't got no car. I ain't got no phone.
Carrying the kids each.
Carrying the, listen, when you are trying to get away, truly get away. Okay, I don't want to talk about Tina Turner and how she was dragging her kids.
Right.
Okay, when you trying to get away, you gonna walk, you gonna lug, you gonna do whatever. She had 1 little bag and 2 babies. Okay,
Right.
like she could get away. What she do? Poor baby. She done went back in the house.
Defeated, and he came back in the house. So I guess he has the locator on her phone. He was like, "Yeah, it seems like you just stayed in the house all day." And she was like, "Yeah, I just watched Peppa Pig with the kids."
Yeah, with the gun underneath the pillow. Because as soon as he would have walked in that door, a person who has been fed up, I got bruises, my kids got broken ribs, I'm popping this nigga. That's it.
Right.
I'm not no, that's it. You're gone. Sorry, bye. But again, she got to reach her limit, and she hasn't reached it yet.
Right. So also, she goes on tour with Little Murda, and who's supposed to be her manager at the time? I forget this boy name.
Rome.
Okay, Rome. So she goes on tour with Little Murda, and she's trying to stack up her money. In her mind, she's trying to say, "All right, I'm gonna stack up this money so I can escape me and my kids, and we'll be good." So she's trying to stack up this money. She's thinking this guy is, looking out for her. He's her manager. He's in her corner. She's making all this money, and then he corners her in the room. And I guess he like took off his robe. Like she's like, "What are you doing?" Like, and he's like, "You know what this is." Like, so he ends up trying to rape her, and she ends up running out that room naked. That part was like deep too, right there, where she ran out of that room naked. That was a deep part in the series. So she ends up running away from him, and she's crying and she's distraught, and there's a lot of emotional trauma there because it's just like, this is supposed to be a person that's helping me, looking out for me, and then he tries this shit. So it also plays into, I can't trust anybody, so I'm trying to leave this motherfucker, and I can't trust nobody. So it's like, what the fuck do I do here? Like,
right. Because then and him of all people, the one that's putting money in her pocket, the one that she feels like is getting her these endorsements, the eyelashes, the shoes now, you know what I mean? All of those things, she's looking forward to this and the consistency of it. And at that point in time, he broke that. He broke it. And then, so now how do we go back from that? You've like completely ruined this business relationship. I run to you when I'm trying to run from him because you get me out of the house. You make it where as though, all these business ventures and this tour and all of that, you make it so that I can get out. And now I'm backed up against the wall in this situation. So I feel like she just feels broken again.
So I want to ask you, East. So if one man breaks your trust, and then another man breaks your trust, does that break your trust completely?
For me, I say no, it doesn't break my trust completely. However, the antennas will surely be up. And then every man that I would encounter, whether business or, relationship or friendship, whatever, every man that I encounter from that point in time after that, I will be, the antennas will be up and I will be
just say just say every man here on out has to eat this bullet.
No, but see, I wouldn't be that I wouldn't be all the way live like that. Like I wouldn't be. People would definitely have to earn my trust. You know what I mean? I wouldn't completely give it 100%, but I wouldn't be completely cold to it either. I just don't think that I can do that in my heart. You know what I mean? So I feel like my antennas would be up though, for sure. They would be having to work their way. to some trust.
So how do you feel about her relationship with Diamond?
She just need to stop it and give in. Like Diamond is a good dude, but his real baby mama who is on the show, what's her name? Big Booty. What's her name?
I don't remember. I don't.
Oh, the one he's sleeping with now. I can't think of her name, but that's his baby mama in real life.
Oh, it is.
Yeah,
He
I
was
can't
giving her.
think of.
He was giving her to work.
Yeah, I can't think of her name right now, but that's yeah, that's his baby mom in real life. They're together. I
Okay.
can't think of her name right now, but anyway, I feel like he really cares about her and he really loves her. He could take her from. He could protect her,
Yeah.
take her and her kids out of that volatile situation, and she can really be who she is, rebuild her life, get strong, and be loved.
Right.
You know what I mean by someone. So I feel like she's lunching.
Right.
She lunching on Diamond. His
So
fine
Diamond.
ass.
So Diamond is smashing the new chick, but he's imagining it as her.
Yes. You see her face morphs.
Right. So he's imagining that. So that's how much
Yes.
he's caught up into Keyshawn and trying to love
Right.
him and
Right.
be with her.
Yeah. And I feel like he's shown her that.
Right.
Like he's shown her that, given her bits and pieces of himself over the course of time that she should be able to pick up on it. I don't know. Maybe she'll get it. Maybe now she'll open her eyes. Something will happen. He wasn't receptive to her at the dollar store, though.
He
He
was
was
pissed
not.
off. She pulled a gun on him.
I know.
He's still pissed off about that. She pulled the gun.
Yes. Yes.
All right, so back to what happened with Rome. Before he tried to rape her, they had this conversation about he was saying to her, "Well, who do you think you are? You're a stripper. Like, who do you think you are? Like, this is a
Mm-hmm.
part of the program. Like,
Mm-hmm.
so what do you think about that whole conversation where she said to him, "No, I'm providing this little fantasy to get to where I need to go. This is
Mm-hmm.
like I'm in control here. Even though
Mm-hmm.
I'm a stripper, I'm in control of what I do and how I do it." So what do you think about that whole part where he was trying to belittle her, and try to tell her like this is part of the program? What do you think about that whole little scene?
Yeah, I think it was a typical go-to, whether it was because she was rejecting him or because that's how he really truly felt about her and the category that he put her in. No matter, I teach you like the what is it, the blue wop princess or whatever. You know, I treat you like you this princess, but I really think you're a whore and you should be fucking me. Like if that's the category that he put her in, that was his go-to. Or if he was salty about the rejection, that was his go-to. I felt like he wanted to belittle her and make her feel like she wasn't shit.
Right,
You know what I mean? Because his ego was bruised
right.
at that point in time. You know what I mean? Or the true feelings really came out, like how he really felt about her. You know what I mean? So I think that just crushed her.
So it's two parts to this. Do you think that that's a big problem, in between men and women where the business and the personal line crosses?
Hmm. That is a big problem. And then I feel like not even, I feel like too, sometimes certain men, I'm not going to say all, and I'm not going to, make it all across the board, but some men, they just can't separate that. Like they want to be in sexual involvement, you know what I mean, with people that they're dealing, that they're coming in contact with as far as business sometimes. And like him, like he said, and just like even after the fact, after it all happened, he was in a room full of other women. Like
Right,
I could get somebody else after you. That's just the thought,
right,
you know what I mean, process of some men. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, you come a dime a dozen.
right,
Like you're disposable and you're dispensable to me, and I don't care, business or not, I'm gonna get another you. You know what I mean? So it's all for their gratification sometimes. And that's a problem, especially when dealing with business, because not all the time is the woman with it,
right. All right.
you
So
know.
the second part of that was where she said that I'm in control and I'm providing this and I have, goals and plans. Do you really think that Keyshawn is in control or do you think that she's lying to herself?
She's lying to herself. I feel like she's lying to herself. I don't feel like she's in control because I feel like you can walk out the door and you can feel like you're in control of your, you know what I mean? You can feel like you're in control of your career, but in all actuality, Derek is controlling your personal life,
Right.
and Rome was controlling your career.
Right.
So in all actuality, you're not in control no matter what you say or how you say it. And even sometimes when she talks to Derek, she really do feel like she's in control.
Right.
She feels like, she's being manipulative a little bit, where that she's to the point that she's in control and she's not hiding Pampers to get out. She feels like that's control, making Rome come over to talk to him so she can go on tour with Little Murder. She feels like she's in control. Some may think that she is in control. I personally don't feel like she is. Do
Yeah.
you?
I don't think that she's in control,
Okay.
but I like that her mindset is trying to get to that point. I like that she's trying. At least she's knowledgeable of
Mm-hmm.
that being a thing. Some women don't even know that that's a thing.
Right. Right.
So at least she's knowledgeable that that's a thing, and she's trying to get to that point, even though she might be moving slower than a motherfucker.
Right. This
she's
is
trying.
true.
She's
Yeah.
trying to get to this point. So I'm not going to say that she's in control, but I like the fact that she's trying to get to that point.
Yeah. I agree. I do agree with that because she's making it a point to try to steer in the right direction. So yeah, you're right about that.
All right. So now with Keyshawn, she's back home. They're off the tour. They done knocked off Rome for his bullshit, which I'm not mad at all.
Mm-mm.
Which I'm not mad at all. They done knocked off Rome for his bullshit. So she's back home. What's her next movie?
She need to get with Diamond.
She need to get with.
That's her next. Honestly, because I don't know um, if she's not utilizing any of the other individuals that is around her right now that she could clearly go to for help. Uncle
Right.
Clifford has said that he would help her in this sense. Like so many other options that
So,
she's
so,
had.
so let's stay right there as you're saying that. A lot of these times, it's hard to give women help when they're in these positions.
Yeah.
They don't want the help from certain people,
Hmm.
and sometimes they don't even think that they need help, and they don't want everybody in their business, even though it's already out there.
Right.
So what are your thoughts on people even accepting help in that position?
Accepting it, like her accepting the help. See, but the problem is with accepting, you first got to realize that you need the help
Mm.
to want to accept it. So for her, I think she realizes it. I'm not going to say that she doesn't realize it because she sees that this is dysfunction,
Mm.
but she doesn't want it from she doesn't know that the help she would be getting would be genuine because she feels like whatever Derek can provide to her is more genuine than what
Right.
anyone else can offer.
Right.
So I think it's going to take not friends, not family. Unfortunately, I think it's going to take Diamond
Mm.
to show her the love
Mm.
from a man, a different love,
Mm.
to open her mind to the fact that what Derek is doing to her
Mm.
is not it. And there is a different love. And I feel like that's when she's going to step off. I don't feel like it's going to happen any other way.
I believe that, but I'm glad that you said that with Derek, because the reason why she's not, I mean, with Diamond, the reason why she's not accepting Diamond is because she's dealt with colorism. So what is your take on colorism, and have you dealt with that?
Hmm. I have. I feel like there's this, you deal with it just so much in the black community, in the white community, you know what I mean? Because in the white community, you're black.
Right.
In the black community, okay, well, you light skin. Like I've even had friends say, oh, well, they didn't act that way with you because you light skin. Okay, what the fuck does that mean? Like I've literally lost friends over this,
Right.
but it is the premise that people believe and how people behave,
Mm.
where if you have a darker skin, that people shun away from that and tend to gravitate more to a fairer skin or a lighter skin, as if that, means anything. It's all what's inside your heart, I believe, and who you are as a person. So colorism is real and it's fucked up because you're dealing with racism within your race in a sense.
Right.
And that goes vice versa.
Right.
Fair skin,
Mm.
darker skin, you know what I mean? You're dealing with it within your race. So I feel like for her, if she's saying, that she doesn't want to be with Diamond because he's fair skinned or because she's dark skinned.
She doesn't look at Diamond like that because of the black people, when she was in high school, treated her like shit. So she can't accept the love from him because in her mind is like, no, they don't fuck with me.
It's not a genuine love, right?
Right.
Right. So yeah, I would agree.
Mm.
I would agree when I think of it in that sense.
Mm.
And then I think it's going to take him to do a grand gesture to show some sort of deep rooted genuine ship.
Right.
You know what I mean? More than what he's already been trying to show, to maybe turn that around for her a little bit. Because she is really stuck on that.
Right.
She is really stuck on that.
Yeah, it's a mess.
Yeah.
Well,
you being light skinned,
what's up?
have you dealt with colorism before?
Yeah.
For guys, I feel like it's different, but
it's not different. I've definitely dealt with it because I grew up, when I lived with my dad, I was like one of the only black kids around. It was probably like me and one other little black kid on the block. And I was probably like one out of 6 in the whole school when I lived with my dad. So I know what that is to be surrounded by, a different race. And even on the block, they would like call me the other little black kid's name because that's the only black kid that they ever seen.
right. Right.
So yeah, I've dealt with it, and I've dealt with the racism side of it, and like where you can't even walk into the store or they looking at you like, first of all, like, why are you even in this neighborhood? And second, I know you about to do some shit because you're black.
Right.
I've dealt with it on the white side and even on the black side. It's like, all right, you black, but you light skinned, so it's like you're
not really black,
right? So it's like you're a pretty boy. And like even my older brother, who's lighter than me, they would call us like white boys. Like we would be at the park and everybody's black, but they would call us white boys.
Right.
So I've dealt with it, on both sides of it. And it's never really like derailed me or anything, but it's noticeable, and you can see, and you would definitely get in a fights over this shit, but it's nothing that ever derailed my self-esteem or anything like
that. Right. Yeah, that's good. I mean, you can't let it, honestly. I mean, it's just like an everyday thing, like probably from the time you were younger till now, you're still dealing with it, you know what I mean? So it's just like something you become accustomed to and you just kind of adjust and shake and move,
Right. So yeah, it's definitely something that I've seen, and it's a continuation because even with my kids, it's like my daughter is really light and my son's a little dark, so it's still there.
Yeah,
it's still
Isn't that crazy?
Right.
It's so crazy, but it's so real.
Right.
It's so real.
So it's still there. Some people don't look past it, or some people don't know how to deal with it. I just need the people that have to deal with it on the negative side to not let that destroy who they are. To be confident in yourself, to be able to withstand that bullshit.
Right. Yeah, that's so important because otherwise that shit'll just continuously strip away at you.
Right.
You know what I mean? Every time something new happens, you're going to peel back another layer, and then you become so insecure about who you are as an individual that you can't even function properly. So that's so true.
Yeah, forget the bullshit, everybody.
Yep. Please do.
Everybody, but I'm excited to see how the rest of the season plays out.
Yes.
It's been really great. Make sure y'all like and share the video. This video is going to be exclusive for the people who are members. So anybody who doesn't have a membership, I would suggest y'all get a membership. If y'all want to see the exclusive videos, we're going to be touching on the different things here and there. What's up, Ish? Any
Yes,
are
yes.
are you excited to finish out the season?
I am. I'm so excited to see how this is going to end up. How many more episodes do we have? Is it like 9 or 10, or you don't
I
know?
think it's 4. I think it's going to be
We
10
have
episodes.
okay, 10 episodes. So yeah, I'm excited to see how a lot of the storylines are going to progress or finish out.
Right,
Um, because it's a lot of other shit that we didn't touch on. You know what I mean? That's forming in the background.
right.
So I'm interested to see how it goes and how they wrap it up for the season. Did we hear if they're coming back for season 3?
That's what I was going to say. I do need people to, if you haven't seen it, to watch it or at least have it, like playing behind you or whatever, even if you don't pay attention to it, because they haven't been renewed yet. So they do need support, as far as viewership, so they can get, a renewal for season 3.
Oh yeah, for sure. We need a season 3. There's so much story to still be told. Aw.
Also, I'm glad that in the I guess that was the last episode 5 where they did Mississippi's episode where
Mhm.
they had the original OG strippers like Gigi McGuire and them were in the actual show.
Oh
So
yeah,
the
yeah.
people that this story is like really based around were
Mhm.
in that episode. They even had Jocelyn in there.
They did. I was going to say, did you see the Puerto Rican princess up in there?
I seen the Puerto Rican princess and she was looking good. She wasn't looking
Uh-huh.
good at all. Shout out to the Puerto Rican princess.
Right. Shout out to her. They were saying that maybe she should have a small recurring role.
Right.
But yeah, I'm excited for the rest of the season. So we're gonna see how this shit gonna pop off, especially now that Rome out the picture.
Right. I've been hearing rumblings that Cardi's going to be making an appearance. Cardi B.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? Okay, Cardi.
Right. So I'll be excited to see that.
Yeah.
If y'all don't watch it, it's called P Valley. It's on Stars. I think the new episodes air on Sundays, I believe. But it's on Stars. It's called P Valley. This is season 2. It's not just strippers. It's not. It's not just about them being in the strip. It's about their
Right.
actual lives and
Mhm.
how and why they became strippers, or how they also have regular lives. They're not just
Mhm.
hoes in a strip club. Let's
Mhm.
move that misconception out of the way.
Right. Right. And it's giving you some shit to think about this season too. Like you said, it has like a little dark underlying theme to it, but it's really making you think a little bit too, like using your brain just in regards to like spirituality, some of the politics and shit that's going on, some of the themes that's going on between the friends,
Right.
Mercedes and Autumn or Haley, like you know what I mean, their friendship breaking down due to certain things. So it's giving you some shit to think about.
Right. It's on Stars, everybody. On Stars a Sunday night. This is season 2. You can recap and start from the beginning if you need to. It's a great show.
Mhm.
Make sure y'all go to www.rawhoney.drip if y'all need any of that extra
Any of the goodies.
any of the goods, if you need some spice in your life, because a lot of y'all.
This is I play one of these games
What's
at
up?
like the events that I give, the Raw Honey events. This Vanilla Sky, I can't point to it. That's my stripper name. So when we have events, I make all the females write their stripper name and put it on a name tag, and they walk around with it all night. So that's my stripper name,
Okay.
Vanilla Sky. Make sure
Okay.
y'all check me out.
I'll fuck with that. So make sure y'all like and share the video, subscribe to the channel, all that good stuff. Make sure y'all got y'all memberships in order. Everybody's not going to be able to see all the exclusive content if you don't. And we're going to want to wrap this up now.
Yes, yes. Make sure you guys subscribe and
P
get those
Valley,
memberships.
P Valley. Make sure y'all check it out.
Check it out.
And if there's any other thing like shows or movies or anything that y'all want to see us topping on, we'll touch in on that as well. We'll be back on Sunday for Uncensored Minds. We'll be back on Wednesdays for Tailor Made Kicks. What's up, Ish? We out of here.
Yes, we out of here. See you
All right.
guys Sunday and Wednesday. Peace.
Deuces.